So welcome everybody to this week's Multicultural Week Diversity in Action here in a collaboration with Oxnard College and Ventura College. Super excited to have you all here, a great turnout, and what to say about this event. This is what I call a butterfly effect event. When I first started working at Oxnard College, I was introduced to Emily Zawal, who's our professor of American Sign Language here at Oxnard, and she was one of those individuals that just there was something about her, right? And it piqued my interest in wanting to learn about sign language. And as a result, I took her class. I took ASL 1 and I took ASL 2, and it introduced me to deaf culture and the deaf community. And there's just something that I gravitate, and I wanted to learn more. And in the midst of all that, I happened to see, it was something, I think it was on the news and then on social media, about an individual named Matt Maxey. And it was just, I was mesmerized by him. And so fast forward to today, I ended up reaching out to him like, hey, we're doing this event, and he was on board to come and speak here at Oxnard College and share his journey. So the butterfly effect, right? If I had not connected with Emily in the very beginning, I wouldn't have piqued that interest, and it wouldn't have introduced me to Matt Maxey and brought him here to Oxnard College. So I am, if you bear with me, I am going to turn it over to Matt and let him tell his journey. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. We'll have it set up so you can send over your questions. We'll have a Q&A at the end. But thank you again for supporting this event, and we're excited. So let me switch over the spotlight. Let's see. Why doesn't... There you go.
Hi, everyone. Great. Are you ready to get going? Perfect. I can't see everybody, but I hope that behind your screens, you can all see me and that you're all happy. My name is Matt. My name sign is this. And the reason for that name sign is that I'm always smiling. I just can't help it. I feel like I'm forever stuck with this huge smile. So I wanted to start off this presentation with a little bit of background about myself. I'm hard of hearing. I wear 2 hearing aids. I have a profound hearing loss. And when I was growing up, I didn't know anything about the deaf community or deaf culture. Nothing. I didn't know sign language either. I grew up in an oral education or in mainstream classrooms where I didn't sign. So often I was the only deaf in any school that I was at. So identity-wise, I've always been a little bit in limbo and trying to figure out where I fit in, where in the world do I belong. But fast forward to the time I went to college, I went to Gallaudet University. And that was my first time being exposed to the deaf community. And I was in absolute culture shock. I did not know what was going on. I didn't know what kind of world I'd stepped into. So my first semester was actually at during DPN, which is Deaf President Now, if you know about that. This was the second Deaf President Now protest. The first happened in this happened in 2006. And with that, the entire school shut down. There was a large protest, so no classes. And that was how my first semester went. I was just scrambling to, tread water and just to learn the actual language. So now me and the interpreter are going to switch just a second. I'm going to sign a little bit. She's going to sign a bit and I'll voice for myself for a while.
So while I do that, are we good to go with the switch? I can voice, you can sign. I see you just fine. I'm sure they will see you just fine too. Okay, perfect. So why I switch is to kind of show that in the society and culture we live in now, it often shows that people have to go back and forth between sign language and using the speech therapy that they learn. When I first got together at university, it felt like I had to pick one or the other. And that actually became part of my identity crisis in a way because I grew up talking, but I wanted to be a part of the deaf community. And trying to figure out where I fit in, how to fit in was always a challenge, especially with the heritage and prestige behind the deaf community. But even with that, still trying to learn sign language and build myself up to be accepted by the community. Even now, I know when I talk and I don't sign, sometimes it can become offensive, but that's where I also take pride in accepting who I am as a person and hopefully encourage others to do the same thing. Nobody says you have to be one dimensional. Nobody says that you can't be multifaceted. You can be as much as you want to be. So instead of trying to conform what society and people want you to be, just try to embrace your differences and enhance them as much as possible. So we're going together that and seeing all of that, learning, just trying. Oh, you heard me the whole time? Or did I just meet? Okay, cool. I was about to say, yeah, that's messed up. Okay. But with trying to learn sign language, it actually helped to know music and lyrics with the music. I actually grew up with the church. I actually grew up around music. My family loves music. It's all I ever known. So with learning sign language, it completely blew my mind how, okay, this word means what? This sign means what? I can show this word how. Oh, this is awesome. Wow. Oh, okay, that's cool. That kind of gives the word more life, more personality. Can we apply this to music? Okay. Now, I will admit, my first mistake was trying to learn sign language and sign to people like Eminem, Twister. It was not happening. I tried my best, but it was so fast. It was so much wordplay. It was so much going on that I was just overwhelmed. But for most people, if you become stubborn and you like a challenge, that was the perfect kind of challenge for me. I've always been in honors classes, gifted classes, advanced program, international baccalaureate. So it was always just more of a thirst for learning and combining the visuals of sign language with the knowledge that I already knew from music lyrics blew my world. So ever since then, it actually led to creating the brand that we call Definitely Dope, which is DeAFINITELYDOPE. How you sign it is def, so it's definitely, definitely dope, or dope, or dope. Whatever is cool to you, that's the beauty of it. Just because it's one word doesn't mean it's a one size fits all. It's whatever you want it to be. And that's how I feel with my identity. Now, with creating Definitely Dope, woo, it's been an incredible journey. It actually led to presenting at different schools, motivational speaking, teaching workshops, and actually we'll kind of show you today a little bit of some of the work that we do now working through Airbnb, trying to help people become more interested and fascinated with sign language, combining it with music as a great introduction to, hey, you can now be an ally and advocate for the community, but I'll help you have fun to get your foot in the door of this new world that you're about to explore. And by the way, this is so awesome having an interpreter. So nice being able to go back and forth between identities without feeling confined or not being able to give you my best because it's not what I feel like doing. So thank you for the interpreter for being here and helping make that process easier, and to the ASL Club for providing that resource. So with the Definitely Dope, we've actually been working with people like MTV. We did Video Music Award for MTV, a shoot for them. We did work with CNN, GQ. We've worked with Snapchat, LinkedIn, Google, you name it, we probably connected with them. We've worked with artists like Waka Flocka, love him. We've worked with people like Andy Manillo, if you know the song, I'm Coming In Hot. Boom, 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 boom. My singing voice is awful, which is another reason why I translated to sign language and music, because my singing career was non-existent. But with all of the experience, that's definitely dope. I can definitely say that over time, we've actually tried to do police sensitivity training to highlight the dangers and the scares, fears of being black and deaf in America and dealing with law enforcement in the state that we live in now. I myself have had encounters with law enforcement to the point to where I've lived in fear, because if I don't have my hearing aid in and law enforcement tells me to turn around or stop and get on the ground and I don't hear them, I don't trust them enough to be able to be like, hey, they might realize that I'm deaf, instead of, okay, he didn't comply, now I'm getting shot in my back. So trying to show that reality of different situations where yes, we can adjust. Yes, we can fit. Yes, we can try our best to get in. But yes, we also want our resources to be available for us. So if we go to the airport, as I often travel, and you have an announcement over the loudspeaker, oftentimes the deaf community gets left out because we don't know what's going on. And after a while, we don't want to always be like, what is that? What's going on? Because most of the time you want to be able to get the information in real time. So advocating for that with the different companies and organizations that we work with help fit in with the inclusion accessibility department of trying to make things more natural instead of getting it delayed after the fact. So that's just a quick little background, not so quick, kind of quick background. But now I wanted to kind of do a music activity. I know we have some deaf people here. I know we have some hearing people here. Either way, I just want to be able to spread the love and passion that I have with music with y'all. So that way we can all do it together. Hopefully I can see all of your lovely faces and we can go through this song together. I'm sure it'll be a great experience. It's a popular childhood favorite song. But once we finish with the song, then I would love to just open up the floor for a Q&A to be able to at least interact with all of you. I'm not great at talking about myself, but I am great at passing along knowledge and answering questions in hope of it doing better for the community as a whole. So with that being said, if I could see some of the screens and we can take off the spotlight, I don't know if we can do that, but I will now start teaching. Hey. Okay. So if you already know the song, perfect. I will walk you through it line through line. So everybody that hears that in West Philadelphia, born and raised, West Philadelphia, born and raised, I'm sure you're probably like, oh yeah, that's my jam. That's the reaction we want. Where'd my interpreter go? There you go, Will Smith. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't see the other interpreter. Who? Oh yeah, where's Theo? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Do I need to switch to gallery. Perfect. I see you. Great, great. And I see all of your lovely faces. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. So I'll walk all of you through this song. I know some of you may not know your ASL ABC, but that's fine. If you don't know your ABC, I will help get you up to speed. If you know it, you already have a jump start. So now I'm just going to walk you through it. We have your in West Philadelphia, born and raised. If you stretch, get loose, get your water break, your hands are about to be putting in overtime. Alright? So your West Philadelphia, this is your W. Perfect. So we're going to start on our opposite shoulder and come over to the same side. So that's your way. So in West. Now, I'm from Atlanta. So I'm sure you may know Peace Up, A-Town Down. What's ironic about the A-Town Down is that it's P in sign language. So when people in the club, they're like, P, 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 P. What's P? Oh, my bad. That means like ATL, Atlanta. It's not like actually P, but Atlanta. Oh, that thing. But we're going to take that P and we're going to put it in the middle. So now it's going to be at the side of your face and it's going to come over to your shoulder area and then straight down. So that's your Philadelphia. You're going to go over and then straight down. If you want to kind of put a little spice on it, you can roll your wrist. Philadelphia. Philadelphia. It will go inside, out, and straight down. So in West Philadelphia, now we're going to think of a pregnant lady. Whoop! And now that baby is just going to pop out. Boop! That's your born. Now that baby is on the side of you, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's your born. Perfect. So in West Philadelphia, born and raised. So now we have our playground where we spent most of our days. Most of our days is, that's a lot to sign at one time. So we're going to abbreviate that with a thumbs up every day. Every day. So now on the playground, I want you to think of what's your favorite activity at the playground. You can find play with your Y, play, ground, that's one option. Or you can talk about the monkey bars, that's another option. Or you can talk about going down the slide or swinging. So whatever is your favorite activity at the playground, or if you just love the playground as a whole, that's where I want to see you sign. So on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Every day. So it'd be right here on your jawline. Perfect. You said monkey bars, yeah? That's the spirit. So now we have chilling out, masking, relaxing, all cool. Chilling out, masking, relaxing, all cool. This is the deaf culture of chilling. By the way, Amy, bless you. I see you. You're very welcome. But with chilling in the deaf community, how we tend to say it is we take two T's and we cross our arms. Now, if you're like, I'm chilling, you don't look like you're chilling. I'm chilling. I want to see all the energy go out of you. So chilling out. So masking, we're going to treat that like a stroll in the park. I'm just going to enjoy my day strolling through the park. Masking. And now relaxing, all cool. You have two options. We can either put our feet up, or if you really want to show how much you relax, that's your relaxing, all cool. So it kind of helps to show when you see the difference, like, yes, you understand the word, but at the same time, it's so much more visual than what you first think of when you first think of the song. So cool, chilling out, mastering, relaxing all cool, and all shooting some b-ball outside the school. So before I get there, when you shoot some b-ball, I myself have 3 people that I give you options to choose from. You can pick from MJ, you can pick from Kobe, wherever you live, or you can pick LeBron James. But if you shoot, you have to flop. That's the only way we'll understand that it's LeBron. So when you're shooting some basketball, Kobe, outside the school, we're gonna do school, and then we're gonna go close. So it's be an F on your nose, close. Close to the school. Perfect. So now we have a couple of guys up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. So I want you to take your non-dominant hand, this one, that's your one, and your dominant hand too. Couple of guys up to no good, getting close to. Now I want the facial expression, show me your best work of, trouble's coming. Who are you? What are you doing? That's how you show they're up to no good. Perfect. Great job, Ruthie. I love that. Hey, get back. You don't know me like that. Perfect. So that's your couple of guys up to no good. And now they start carding. You have 2 S's. They start carding. Now you have your 2 B's, trouble, in my neighborhood. Perfect. Now I want you to think of when you were a kid and you had your parents and they were like, hey, did you get into a fight today? Deaf being? Nope. You take your middle finger and you flick upwards on your shoulder. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. So I got in one little fight. Not me. But my mom, she got scared. You know how your mom reacts when she sees her baby got beat up after a fight? She's like, oh, my poor baby, what happened? Oh, come here, I'm so sorry. We're going to consider that as scared. So I got in one little fight, but my mom got scared. Then she said, you're moving? Looks just like the introduction, doesn't it? You're moving with your auntie and uncle to California. West Side. If you want to spell Bel Air, help yourself. But a lot of times it's just easier to sign the whole state of California, give the whole state a little bit of love. So now what I'm going to do is stop halfway because I want to make sure we fully use our time today. And I'm going to go back to the beginning to review what we just learned. Then I want all of us to try it together with the music just to see how we all do. If we all go good, if you're able to, please fill out this. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. If we do good for our trial with the music, then we can continue and try to finish the whole intro. So everybody can go home and be like, oh yeah, I learned the Fresh Prince of Bel Air today. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. So now we're going to start from the top. You have your West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, masking, relaxing all cool, and I was shooting some b-ball. Kobe! Outside the school. With a couple of guys who were up to no good. What you doing, man? Started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight. but my mom got scared. She said, you're moving with your auntie and uncle to Bel Air. Perfect. So now I'm going to turn on the music. You're going to hear the introduction. Now, this is the story all about how my life, blah, blah, blah. We're going to skip that part and wait for the West Philadelphia. And I will also help with the cue so that we all know when to start. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air.
How we do that?
In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spend most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. I whistled for a cab and when it came near, the license plate.
So now here's your opportunity. I would love to see all of you discuss with each other. How do you feel about signing it? Do you feel like now, I had a little bit more swag than I expected? Or do you feel like, oh man, this is out of my league, I wasn't ready? Or do you feel like, nothing to it? I think Sierra said fast, Marine said hard, Lisa said joke. You said joke or easy? Oh, you agree.
Good thing I agree.
I'm looking throughout the screen. I see some of y'all still have the lockdown. I see Fatima said more energy, like you want more energy with the signing. So would this be like in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground where I spent most of my day, chilling out, acting, relaxing on, cooling off. Okay. Okay. Well, the whole point was just more of to help kind of show the passion and joy that comes with signing music. I can't lie, sign language has definitely changed my life, has given me a new perspective on everything, made it so much more visual, and the joy of seeing people that, you watch something like The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Who ever thought that we would be doing it in sign language for a workshop? To me, that's mind blowing. But that's the cool reality of the society, culture, and generation that we live in. So now my question to you is, are you ready for the second half of the song, or are you quitting out before it's too hard? I see some of you like, yeah, I want all the smoke. I'm ready. Bring it on. Come on. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Loving the energy. All right, so great. We had the first part down. So now, what's the second part? See, moving with the auntie and look at the belly. I whistled for a cab, and when it came near. So how do we all whistle for a cab? When we're deaf, we're like, ah, or we use lift, to be honest. So I'm not gonna use the phone because we can't with the phone, but we're gonna kind of do like deaf and hearing in one. I can whistle to save my life. That part. So I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, we're going to take our 3 fingers and pull up. Now we're going to look at the license plate. Say fresh. So I want you to think of dirt off your shoulders. Just wipe the dirt off your shoulders. Or you can pop your shirt, fresh. Or you can just kind of fresh, or whatever you do to feel like you're fresh. Have fun with it. That's always the goal. So the license plate says fresh, woo, woo, and it has dice, like dice hanging in the mirror. So if you're here in America, it's always going to be to your right side, Haney. We've actually had international people, and they'll be like this. I'm like, wait, that's the wrong side of the road. Oh, wait, no, that's the right side of the road. Oh, we backwards. Oh, that's cool. It's super cool. So it had dice in the mirror. Now, if anything I could say, that's, I want all of you to get your facial expressions on point and get your thinking man, thinking woman on. That, if anything I could say in sign language without saying a word. Because you can show all of that without working overtime trying to keep up. What can you say? I don't know yet. If anything I could say, this cab was rare. So that's the sign for strange. It could be special, but if you recall in the introduction, he kind of looking at it like, man, this cab is rare. Something else. This is strange. Ooh, what are you doing? Ooh, man, what's going on? Ooh. So it's strange. But I thought, nah, forget it. Push it to the side. Let's go. It's like, let's go to Bel Air. So now we have your regular version or a little bit of flavor. Technically, when you pull up, you arrive. Or you pull up. I'm from Atlanta, so how we pull up, I pulled up to the house. Yeah, I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8. About 7 or 8. And I yelled to the cabbie, you're home. Smell you later. Like, yo. Whatever facial expression. And now look at my kingdom. I want you to think of your jaw-dropping moment. Like when you go on vacation, you get to the beach, you get to a nice hotel, you get to your favorite place in the world, and you're just like, wow. That's your looking at your kingdom. So, looking at my kingdom, wow. Finally there. To sit on my throne as the prince of Bel Air. So that was the walk in the park. Y'all just finished the whole song. So now we're going to go back to the beginning, review, refresh, make sure we are on point, ready to go, and then try it again with the music and see how we all do as a group. By the way, I'm so happy this is recorded because all of you get to watch all of your amazingness anytime you want. I see you, Amy. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Alright, so from the top, we have you in West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, mastering, relaxing all cool, and all shooting some b-ball, Kobe, outside the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, but my mom got scared. My baby! She said, you're moving with your auntie and uncle to Bel Air. I waited for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said fresh, and it had dice in the mirror. If anything I could say, this cab was there, but I thought, nah, forget it. Let's go to Bel Air. I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cabbie, you're home. Smell you later. Yo. Lift in my kingdom. I was finally there. to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air. Okay, look at all of you. Thirsty. I like it. Alright, so now I'm going to rewind, go back to the beginning, start the countdown again. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all shooting some b-ball outside of the school with a couple of guys who were up to no good. Started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said "Freshen it" and dice in the mirror. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, man, forget it. Yo, home to Bel Air. Bel Air.
Yeah, everybody vote. I was watching, and then I saw everybody signing along, and then I saw everybody, and I was wondering what happened. I'm like, oh no, right in the middle of the song. Perfect, not perfect timing. So how was the second go around? Was that better? Did y'all feel okay? You enjoy it? Okay, perfect. It's hard, good, better. Okay, perfect. Well, that's why we practice, we put in our work. Honestly, when we first did the song, I'm sure most of you have experienced the first time. Oh, the first time, after 1 month, professional. So now with that said, I want to go ahead and open up the floor for the Q&A. I know we have maybe about 15 minutes for Q&A, and I want people, oh yeah, I don't have to STEMCom no more. You have an interpreter. My apology. I'm so used to STEMComming identity, but yeah, I'm so happy to have help. Yes, 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 yes. But I want to open up the floor for the Q&A. If it's questions about inclusion, accessibility, deaf culture, deaf community, my personal story, I'm all here for it. If you want to type your question, go for it. If you want to sign your question, at least type your name so we know where to look, or have the interpreter be able to interpret voice for you as well. However we can work it out. So now I'm going back to gallery view, and the floor is now open for Q&A, and I see Eliana. If I said your name wrong, my apology. Okay.
Not at all. That is correct. I was wondering, actually, do you feel more comfortable signing to deaf people or talking to the hearing?
That's actually a great question. I often go back and forth so much. It does depend on my mood. So some days I don't want to talk. I love Hey, what you doing? Where you going? One hand all day. But then at the same time, I play basketball with him, or I work with him, and I hear them laugh, joke, and that attitude, that personality, completely different. I try to into my signing, but when it's voice only, it's more of, oh yeah, well, did you see that play? Man, that was crazy. I lost my mind. It's so much animated, but in a completely different way. So I'm learning to actually appreciate both cultures without sacrificing my identity in both cultures.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. That's awesome.
Okay, that's a great question. All right, so now I see the next question from Francesca. How do I get definitely dope started? Okay, well, I hated working a 9 to 5. I would admit that. I felt like I had bigger dreams than just a regular 9 to 5. And I love music so much, it pretty much like consumed my life. And it just became more with social media growing, it became more of noticing and trying to act on the idea of if you have a passion in life, make it your career. So trying to figure out and navigate the journey of making silent music and sign language a career was the start of Definitely Dope. I had no idea what I was doing. I just figured if I created a brand name, it would evolve from there. But important, give it a name so that it can start somewhere. And once it started, then it became like, hey, can you come to the school, speak to us? Hey, can you come to this event, perform for us? Hey, can you come here, try to interpret? Nah, I'm not an interpreter, but I'll perform. Or, hey, do you want to do this with Definitely Dope? Yeah, fine, sure. And it just grew more. But definitely the more it became visible online, the more that Definitely Dope started to, okay, we expand so much more than music. It's for the community, for the culture, help with police, help with school, help with identity, help with enjoying music, help with being okay with being hard of hearing, blah. Alright, so now the next question. So happy you're here. Thank you, Natasha. How has your experience been being the editor and interpreter for large artists at concert? I'm gonna be honest. I hate it. I hate it. It's so different. Actually, I'm gonna turn off my voice. Do we have the interpreter? Let's see. I'm assuming the interpreter has me covered.
Gotcha.
Perfect. Yeah. Super clutch. When it comes to
When it comes to interpreting at festivals and doing interpreting for music and whatnot, I have a set list. Like, for example, I just 2 years ago in Las Vegas, there was the Las Vegas Live Beauty Festival. Life is Beautiful Festival. And Lil Wayne was performing, or supposed to perform. So I was practicing his whole set list for like a month before this show. I just took in all his music, listened to every single word, memorized every song on the set list, which was stressful. Sorry, my dog's barking. So it was super stressful. And then once I got done, he didn't show up. So I'm like, I'm doing all this stressful work for a month before the show, pouring my heart and soul into it, figuring out the lyrics and how to interpret them. And then for all for nothing, he just didn't show up. So it wasn't worth the headache, honestly. I would say that the experience itself of being up on stage and interpreting is pretty amazing. It's pretty mind-blowing because with Chance, the rapper, my performance in Chicago, there was a huge audience there. So many people that I couldn't see the back of the audience. And all of them were doing the same thing. They were jamming to the music. And it became really a really shocking and cool experience. So I definitely enjoy those moments, especially when Chance gives 50 free tickets for deaf and hard of hearing people to come enjoy his show. I mean, that is just absolutely champ. So to see 50 deaf people in the front row that are all signing the same thing, going ready for your blessing, I mean, that's really cool. And that's when I enjoy it the most. And that's when I do my best work. And in terms of doing my best work, I know that I can always improve.
All right. I talk a lot, so I'm probably gonna be like in and out of them coming. But thank you. Let's see. So now, what can I do to make myself friendly with a deaf person? You gotta love that autocorrect. So, with the deaf person, always try to at least write ABC. Try to take your time just to start. Really, the best thing you can do is learn ASL. That's really your answer. But if you don't know, then the more time and effort you put into the communication, the more that same energy will likely be met the same way. So, I know I don't know sign language, but I want to communicate. We will likely help you at the coaches to make it happen. So I see say Sierra had the question, then Debbie, then Fatima. So does that mean they're voicing the question or ta-da?
So after you established Definitely Dope, what was the first event that you performed at?
Bonnaroo in Tennessee. It's a camping 5-day festival. That was the first one I went to on invite. We was interpreting for Travis Scott, The Weeknd, Chance the Rapper, Dram, and that's where I met Chance. So really the first time I interpreted at a festival was the first time that I met Chance as well. Yes.
At the event. Wow.
Okay, now who is the next question?
Hello. I'm curious. So you interpret for different rappers, correct? Yeah, in different genres as well. And so are you provided with the lyrics beforehand?
Yeah, they have to give me a set list or else I'm not able to really get the lyrics or anything. So I definitely, I don't hear the music automatically. So once I read it and listen to it, then I can use Genius in the app to show me the lyrics, which I read while I'm listening to the music. And then I can expand on the sign choices. With rap, there's a lot more wordplay and double entendre in the music. So I use a mix of all those things. So like right now I'm reading, I have to read music a bunch of times to get it right. And then I start to sign it once I kind of look at my signs, see how I want to perform them, see if it's enough. And then I will fine tune it, make sure that it matches the song vocals and it presents a whole, a whole thing rather than just signing to a song. It does take a long time, and I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with interpreting this song. And I should say that it's not interpreting; it's more of a performance.
And do you actually practice with the group beforehand?
No, most of the time, practice happens separately in different places, in different locations usually. I'm not usually in the same place with a group. So I trust them to give the information that I need, and they need to trust me to do my part of the job too. So like I said, it does take a lot of the time, and historically that has worked out really well. Actually meeting with a group before we do a performance is very rare.
And I've also watched you recently. You were rapping a song, your own song that you had created.
Yeah, I used to do some of my own performances, my own rap songs, or songs that I interpreted. Sorry, I'm looking at a couple of different screens. Did you have another question? And what you, I know you set up Definitely Dope, your label. What are you using for dope? And they're using the sign with the flicking on the shoulders. And Debbie's asking if you're using like Black American Sign Language, and Matt's saying that, well, Black Sign Language is more Southern. It's more of a dialect or lingo, if you will, more slang. So usually I sign how I would talk to hearing people. I would say, like if I'm talking to hearing people, I'd say, oh, that's dope. But if I'm using Black deaf sign language, I would sign that differently. So that's just kind of what I've experienced in interacting with Southern Black deaf community too. And it may be different if I'm performing in New York rather than the South. I might use different signs or give more personality or attitude within my performance, or a different kind of attitude because of where I am.
And I've noticed a difference in how the sign Black is signed with a single finger or the letter B.
Yeah, I've been using the sign with a B for Black since I got to Gallaudet, and that's because I am a Black person. I didn't know that there was really any difference between the one finger Black and the one with the B, but it does have some historical connotation, which I have just learned within the last couple of years. And that kind of came out of nowhere for me, but it's cool because each culture does have their way of identifying with each other and their way of showing respect internally within that culture. So I think that's to be applauded.
And I've noticed that a lot of the signs, what signs are used more for the N word within rap? What do you use personally?
What word do you mean?
The N word?
I myself can use but
I myself can use that word, but if I do it more subtly, typically. If it's like a professional performance, I will do something like this, bump on the shoulder, or, I'll say friends or brothers or something like that. I'll try to keep it clean depending on the venue. So it just depends. I try to be respectful, especially if kids are involved, and if it's a mixed group, if adults are there, I might use the word, but that's my cultural prerogative. And if it's in the song, sometimes that does need to be interpreted. If it's a way of calling people out, then I would make sure that it's interpreted correctly or used in the right way to make sure that it agrees with the song.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Sure, of course. Fatima, did you have another question?
Yes, can you see me? What was your favorite thing or your favorite experience while going to Gallaudet? Matt answers, the day I left.
I was ready to go.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep going with him? Yeah, I was ready to go. So when I went to school at Gallaudet, when I first went there, it was a lot more segregated, separated, and it wasn't like a community like it is now. So I didn't feel like I belonged or I was included, or that I was deaf enough. I just felt like, okay, I'm here. You tell me that I'm hard of hearing, that I'm not 100% deaf. And I'm like, okay, well, if I take my hearing aids off, I'm just as deaf as you are. We're both the same, hard of hearing, deaf, whatever it is. There's not much of a difference, honestly. So that was sort of an old school way of thinking and feeling. It hadn't evolved or grown on campus yet to become more inclusive or respectful of other cultures. Social media has helped a lot with that, I think, in the last, I don't know, the last couple of years at Gallaudet. It's been like, what? Well, honestly, my freshman year, it was not a fun time. Just trying to learn as much as I could of the language and just accepting and being thankful for that experience, I think was really valid.
Thank you so much for answering my question.
Thank you for asking it.
Karina had a question after Fatima. Karina Rio?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, I think I forgot. I think I have dementia and I forgot my question.
Remember, let me know.
I will, thank you.
And now we find it easier to emotionally express myself in sign language.
Someone's asking if I find it easier to emotionally express myself in sign language. Oh, and it looks like Karina has thought of her question.
Are you the first person who has signed for rappers, or are there other deaf or hard of hearing people who have interpreted for them in the past?
I don't know if other deaf people are doing this. I may be the first, but I'm not sure. I've never seen other performers doing what I do, but I also haven't like investigated to check if there are others. I know for sure, I don't know for sure I'm the first, but I do know that for rappers that have their own personal interpreter on tour, yes, that is pretty rare. It's a rare time to see an interpreter involved in the performance and as part of the show and as part of the venue, but not the artist, if you will. For example, Chance, he made the decision to hire me as the interpreter, and definitely dope. So that's definitely special because it's his show. He runs the whole thing, and to have a chosen interpreter for the show, that's different than having a venue interpreter. Usually a venue interpreter is like way out in the audience somewhere, whereas Chance made sure that I'm up there center stage or, stage left where everyone can see me. So that, I mean, a lot of respect has to be given to Chance for that. So I don't know if there are other deaf or hard of hearing people that are doing the kind of performance that I do, but I hope so. I definitely hope to see more of us out there.
All right, awesome. Deaf Pride, yes.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question. Is it Maureen? Or is Lisa here?
Yeah, are you the interpreter?
Yeah, they've spotlighted me, so.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm also spotlighted on my end. I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
So I understand that through school you were in the mainstream program. And was going to Gallaudet your first experience using an interpreter? Or growing up, did you also use an interpreter within the mainstream?
I didn't know what an interpreter was.
I didn't know what an interpreter was until I was like 19.
Never experienced an
I
interpreter.
just never experienced using an interpreter. Never had to. I was always more just on my own. I had student note takers. I loved reading.
Helped me to keep up with that.
So reading and taking notes helped me to keep up with my schoolwork,
Teacher.
which was nice because I didn't really have to even pay attention to the teacher. I was able to get everything from the book. But then when I first tried to use an interpreter, I was going back to school after Gallaudet, and I tried using an interpreter in Florida. Hated it. I hated it because, I mean, I understood the content, but I hated it because
and I would
sometimes interpreters expand for me, and often it's ways that I don't need expansion. I prefer an interpreter says exactly what a professor is saying, and then I can figure it out for myself. So it became a power struggle for what the interpreter thought I needed, and I'm trying to tell her what I need. So at some point I was like, just go, I don't need you, and I can do it myself. But then when I moved to Texas, I learned better to work with interpreters. I learned how to use interpreters more effectively because
3 years.
I guess about 2 or 3 years now, I've been working with interpreters more, and I've been more accepting, and I've had good interpreters. So most of the time now, I've just been stubborn, and I advocate for myself, tell them exactly what I want, and I voice for myself too. So that's worked.
Thank you so much.
Marie question. I see.
Hello.
I see you now.
You're in a very different position. You grew up in a hearing and speaking school, and you had partial hearing, but when you need to express yourself the best emotionally, do you tend to fall back on speaking versus sign language? Is there one that you can connect with better to evoke your emotions?
If I'm mad, I absolutely have to use my voice if I'm mad. My fingers just start stuttering. I get all hung up, and then I just have to talk. But if I'm sad, or if I'm annoyed or bothered, or just feeling emotional or angsty, sometimes I'll sign as a preference, because I can't always put my feelings into words, like verbal words, my emotional feelings like sadness. And then usually if I sign it, I feel better. So I've noticed that, but if I'm happy already, I'll switch back and forth. I'll do both. I'll sign or I'll speak for myself, and I'll be happy in either one. And that shows for sure. So it depends on the situation. Again, if I'm mad, I will absolutely talk. I cannot sign. But if I'm sad or emotional, I'll sign. And if I'm happy, it's both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good question.
Okay, so you're taking an ASL class next semester.
Okay, I'm taking an ASL class next semester. Do you want to help? Yes, beautiful. I would love to. Another question.
I heard.
Send me a t-shirt. That was the interpreter. Sorry.
By Amy.
Bye, Amy.
Who had the question? I can't hear it. What am I looking at?
I think that's it.
Do I have any
Oh, there's one.
on my videos?
Dawn has a question.
Hi. Don? Hi. Whoa. Sorry again.
My son has a question for you.
What's that? My favorite singing
What's your favorite
song,
song?
my favorite song, or my favorite singer. My favorite singer is uh my favorite singer is I don't know yet. Honestly, I listen to so much music. I love Nina Simone. I love DMX. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love listening to Tom Petty. I listen to pretty much anything, country, R&B, rap, rock. So I don't have a favorite. I like listening to it all. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Who's your favorite singer?
Like the old music?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel you. What vibe? Hey, James, what's that?
Hey, Matt, it's so great hearing from you today. Learned a lot about the deaf culture. But I'm just curious, you're such a positive person. People who are in the room here with me, including my daughter, started smiling just hearing your voice in the room. And it's been a really difficult year for a lot of people, challenging, people feeling down. What do you do to stay positive when you're feeling down?
Honestly, music, the people that I'm around, I think that's the big reason why I advocate for working with what you love because I feel like every day, if I teach a new group or I interact with a new organization or I learn a new song, it's always something going on where I can feel or a little bit proud or just happy of what was accomplished for that day. And it's honestly just taking it one day at a time. Like just looking at COVID at first when it happened, I'm like, dang, we on lockdown. What's up? Okay, now I have all the time in the world to learn all these songs that I've always wanted to learn. And then from there, I just felt like a kid at Christmas. I'm like, oh yeah, new song, more. And it's just internal personality of keep yourself busy, keep yourself active, keep yourself doing the things you love. And I grew up with my mom. She would never let me say that I'm bored. That was like the number one rule. I'm not allowed to say I'm bored. So with that in mind, I always like, okay, I think no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Let me find something else to do. And it just keep going from there.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's super dope. Okay.
I think Jonah has a question.
Who has a question? John?
I have a question. I just wanted to say, what age were you when you fully learned like sign language?
Way older than you, that's for sure. Uh, I started at 18. I probably did not become good until 26, 25, 26. I would admit that because I was talking a lot, I went back and forth, so I didn't really fully immerse myself into the deaf community until my hearing aid broke. When my hearing aid broke for 3 years, then I finally learned ASL.
Wow. I love what you do. You're so inspiring, and just your energy just lights me up. It's really great. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you get to pass it on. Karina, what's that?
So I'm taking a music class right now in college. And I'm wondering, as a deaf person who doesn't listen to music, because most of the time I don't understand, I can't hear their voice. And the beat, it sometimes just annoys me through my hearing aid. And sometimes I have a hard time struggling for that music class. And people have asked me, why are you taking that class? You're deaf, you can't hear the music. And I've said, well, I'm giving it a try, but I am struggling. And the interpreters help. But how can I better understand and become more motivated with that music?
I would definitely try different kinds of music. I mean, even sometimes I listen to jazz or something more based on feeling, not words so much, more instrumentals, but something you can get into, like you physically feel. And you'll notice the different genres of music. And then, you just have to try different things, different kinds of music, or say,
The sound part.
like the sound part, not getting the sound part, I understand because you're deaf. And like me, the sound doesn't always sound like it sounds to other people. And that's fine. If you spend an hour with a song, that's enough. If you don't get it by then you don't have to spend all night with it. But you can connect with other things in music, like the lyrics, the words. You might love a particular phrase in a song. But if you don't connect with that, try other things, try different kinds of music. So I can't really answer that exactly for you, but I can say that music is not for everyone, deaf and hearing. That's the case. So it may just be that music's not for you, but you gave it a try, and that's fine. But
I think it's definitely a journey.
I think it's definitely a journey that has to be taken. And it'll be different for everybody depending on how you experience sound, where you're at, and just how you connect with it. So each path that you take might take you into learning more about that kind of music potentially. And you might find that you love R&B. I mean, I used to listen to R&B all the time, but now I don't as much. Or I used to listen to like 80s R&B. So some of the 80s R&B can be really soft, slow, smooth. So that might be something that you connect to. I think it's important that you just give yourself a chance and keep looking for what you connect to.
Thank you so much. Hi. So I have had so much fun. And I really love music and signing. And I just want to say that this was such a fun opportunity. And in the future, I do plan on going into a career with either deaf education or something to do with teaching. So this really just was a great experience, and it's amazing what you do.
I would definitely say that if you want to become a teacher and that you love music too, you can combine those things. You can combine both of those. You don't have to pick one, not just one or the other. You can do both. I know it, I've seen it. I've seen teachers that involve music in the way they educate students, exposing them to different genres of music. And I say that's great. So you can combine those two things you love. you can combine both worlds. So I'm happy that you know where you're going, and I hope that that fuels your passion.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Nah, who am I looking? Oh, I see. How did I become that?
Oh, someone's asking how I became deaf.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've always been that way. It's an unsolved mystery. What caused my deafness or hearing loss? No one knows.
And I see. Okay. Okay. I see Emily's
I
comment.
see Emily's comment. Yes.
I guess now we got that and good to go for tonight.
So I think we are done and good and go for tonight if no more questions.
I think there's one more question from Blue.
Hi.
All of you for joining tonight.
I wanted to thank all of you for joining tonight. Definitely great energy, great vibe. I really enjoyed you all watching your sign your song together. And think about what you want to change in life and what you want to get out of it, what you're doing next. And I hope that this event today has provided a little bit of inspiration and impact for you to take the next step to go on to something else. It's really been a pleasure, and I hope that everyone enjoyed it. I hope you all take care. Thank you.
Thank you again, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know there's a couple, I think a couple people, other people, I know Blue, I think had a question. I don't know, Blue, if you want to type it in the chat. But thank you again for showing up. This was wonderful. There's a survey in there if you guys could let us know. And there's a t-shirt in there. And yes, Matt is all over the place. Definitely dope. Instagram, Facebook, find him, hit him up. It's wonderful. So thank you again for taking the time. This has been absolutely phenomenal, and we appreciate your time.
Hi.
And Blue is gonna, she has one last question.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I don't have a camera, so that's why it's not on. But okay, so I was sent over here from my teacher. I'm in high school, but taking a college ASL class. And so we were actually sent over here on an assignment to watch this webinar, which I think is really cool. And I wanted to know what advice you had for, because I'm 17 and I'm just learning ASL as a beginner. As you said, it was hard for you, or, you know, you had finally done it when your hearing aid had broke for 3 years. What advice would you have for just in general learning ASL? Because I really enjoy it, and it makes me really excited when I'm able to understand, but I still have a hard time being able to see other people's signs while I can sign myself.
So definitely my advice is that it's one quote that I've always kind of kept in mind. You're either going in the storm, through the storm, or going out the storm. When you're learning ASL, you almost have to look at your journey that way. Because when you first start learning, you're going in, it's fun, but you see it's challenging. Then you struggle, and then you finally beat it to where you notice, oh, I understand more and more than I used to. So really, it just becomes more of my advice that don't look at it as like you have a finish line. Look at it more as a journey and respecting each stage, each step of that journey. So that would be my best advice to at least help you to keep your head up, or the people that you're in class with to keep their head up and keep that same enthusiasm for learning without becoming too defeated when it feels like it's hard, because you will get past it. It's just definitely a long-term game to be able to keep going no matter how difficult it feels.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think Diana, one last question. Diana, are you still here? Did you want to ask a question?
Diana? Diana, where you at?
Matt, thank you for being here. Such a good story of yours. You actually already answered my question. I thought I had missed it. at the beginning of the session. I just was wondering how you became deaf. But you answered that. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Okay. So is it that?
I think that's everybody. So we, again, appreciate everybody who showed up. Thank you, thank you. And we hope you'll join us at the rest of the events we have scheduled throughout the week.
Perfect. On that
Thank
note,
you so much.
with the West Coast tribute, Mamba out. Perfect. Oh wait, do I need to stay and wait?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Let me stop the recording.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sharing down there. Okay.